128 teams to go in my road to predict all 131 teams this year. Starting out with the SEC, continuing with the SEC, moving on down now to South Carolina. South Carolina is a team that made a bowl game last year. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit, but there's a lot of good things to talk about with this South Carolina program. Beamer doing a phenomenal job as head coach, and there's some of the biggest winners of the transfer portal in 2022, and we'll look at a couple of those transfers here in a little bit. But can South Carolina surprise a lot of people and be a premier top 25 team in the country, or will all of South Carolina's transfers be no good and go to waste? What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome to my channel. I'm predicting all 131 teams this year, which means I'm going to be doing your favorite team. So, hey, hit that subscribe button down below. Ring the bell so you know when your favorite team gets uploaded. And to South Carolina fans out there, you guys are going to know this team a lot more than I do. So if you feel like I missed something, you want to add something on, just go ahead and leave it down in the comment section down below. I would greatly appreciate that. So South Carolina, let's talk about South Carolina in 2022. But first, what did South Carolina do in 2021? The 11th ranked team in the SEC, according to my power rankings, were some of the biggest winners of the transfer portal. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But last year was a pretty good season for the first-year head coach. Went 7-6 last year, 3-5 in conference, including a bowl game win against North Carolina. So this is very promising results for South Carolina. The offense, though, last year wasn't great. Only around 337.5 yards per game. And they only scored around 22.5 points per game. That defense, though, is what helped South Carolina win a lot of these games. Only allowed 358 yards a game, and only allowed teams to score 24 points a game. So pretty solid defense there for South Carolina, but this offense has got to take a big step up in 2021. If a lot of people think that this team can surprise like a lot of people are projecting, and well, this offense is projected to get better, but we got to find out what South Carolina lost on both sides of the ball. First, again, Shane Beamer in his first year as head coach did a tremendous job along with offensive coordinator Marcus Satterfield. What are they losing? Well, South Carolina had a flurry of quarterbacks last year. They had 4 true quarterbacks play for this team last year. It was crazy. And 2 of them are gone. Jason Brown and Zeb Nolan no longer on the team. And the running back duo in Kevin Harris and Zaquandre White. Kevin Harris, 152 carries, 660 yards, 4 touchdowns. Could have had a way more productive season, but he is since in the NFL. You also have a guy like Zaquandre White, who was also gone off this team as well. And then off the wide receiver positions, you got guys like Eric Shaw, Rico Powers, and Nick Muse gone off this team. Nick Muse was the 3rd leading catcher on this team with 222 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the defensive end, there's a lot of talent leaving this side of the ball as well. Jabari Ellis, Jakeem Grant, Damani Staley, Kingsley Enigbear, the biggest loss on this defense, and then Jalen Foster is gone off this team as well. Their leading tackler from last year also had 5 interceptions. Did Jalen Foster. He is no longer on the team. But hey, I told you guys this offense was supposed to get better, right? Look at some of the transfers they have coming in. Spencer Rattler at quarterback. That is huge. Now, Spencer Rattler has started out slow in his 2 years at Oklahoma. Ended up getting replaced last year by Caleb Williams. Of course, we all know this. Can Spencer Rattler prove to be more of the guy this year? That's going to be a big thing to watch for from the South Carolina team. Other than that, a transfer running back from Wake Forest and Christian Beal-Smith should provide a nice lift to the running game, as well as Juju McDowell and Marshawn Lloyd are coming back for South Carolina. You still have your leading wide receiver target coming back in Josh Vann. You also have DeCarrion Joyner coming back as well. Josh Vann had 679 yards, 5 touchdowns last year, as did tight end Jaheim Bell have 5 touchdowns along with just around 500 yards. They're also getting a couple transfers in to really help out Spencer Rattler, who figures to be that starting quarterback. Antoine Wells, a transfer wide receiver from James Madison, and Austin Stogner, a familiar target to Spencer Rattler, the former tight end for Oklahoma. On the defensive side, still a lot of good talent. Zach Pickens, Jordan Birch, Jordan Strachan, there at the defensive line. Again, I'm sorry if I mispronounce names. Linebackers, Brad Johnson, Jamar Brown there as well. And one of the best defensive backs in the nation in Cam Smith had 11 passes defended, 3 interceptions last year. He's going to be really key for the South Carolina defense, as is R.J. Roderick and Marcellus Dial. So lots of great talent here on this team. There's another guy. Excuse me, I already said his name in Marcellus Dial. So there's kind of a view of the talent, but the South Carolina offense expects to get better. The South Carolina defense could be better than the defense last year. We'll have to kind of see what happens with the South Carolina defense this year. But again, that offense figures to be better than it was last year, and that's going to be a huge step in the South Carolina becoming one of the better teams in the country this year, as a lot of people think that they can be. So looking at South Carolina's schedule now, they're going to get tested really early. They got a road game against Arkansas and a home game against Georgia in the first 3 weeks of the season. We'll get back into SEC play in a little bit. As for the non-conference games, at home against Georgia State, that's a feisty team. Don't take Georgia State lightly. That's a bad idea. Georgia State is a team that probably can put some fight into the South Carolina team, and they can make them fight and grind out a win. Charlotte is another team that's kind of rising up as well. And then, of course, South Carolina State should be able to win that one. And then, of course, the big non-conference game on the road against Clemson. And that's going to be a pretty good game, but it's going to be a really hard game for South Carolina to win in Death Valley. Going back to SEC play, I already mentioned this team's getting tested early with road games against Arkansas and then a home game against Georgia. Other SEC games, you got road games against Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Florida. And then you got home games against Texas A&M, Missouri, and Tennessee. So South Carolina is one of the teams this year that has upset potential. They do. This is the team that I think can come out and surprise a lot of people. And they might even be able to pull off a big upset. They pulled off a big upset against Georgia a couple years ago. Will they get them at home this year? They could do it again. Who knows? This is a South Carolina team that is going to be very, very dangerous. And I think they can prove themselves to be very, very dangerous as well. Let's take a look at my percentages. Again, I'm not doing game by game. I'm doing more of a percentage-based outlook on this. So games in red are, yeah, you're not winning the game. Games in orange are, you're still probably not going to win, but hey, an upset can happen. Yellow are your 50-50 upset potential games. I guess your high upset potential games. Yellow-green are games that you should probably win, but you could lose. And then games in green are your win in the game. So you see 4 games of the green variety. 1 against Georgia State again. That's a feisty team, though. Don't let them sleep on you. Against Charlotte and against South Carolina State as well. Also, the one against Vanderbilt should be able to pull out a win there. But for South Carolina, this is an SEC schedule that is very hard. So if you look at those 4 wins there, but this is an SEC schedule that is going to be pretty hard for South Carolina. You got that home game there against Missouri. Should probably be a win there as well, so that pushes you to 5 wins on the season. But finding 2 more wins on the schedule is tough. That's a really tough thing to do. You got to go on the road in some pretty tough environments. On the road against Arkansas, that's going to be a hard game. On the road against Kentucky, that's another top 5, potentially top 3 team in the SEC. Then you got a game in the swamp against Florida. I know Florida's not going to be that great, or at least they don't project to be that great. But that's one of the hardest places to play in all of college football, as is Death Valley, the game at the end of the season in non-conference against Clemson. But you do have some games at home that could be upset potential games. A home game against Tennessee, there you go. That's the upset potential. Home game against Texas A&M, right there. There's an upset potential game. And it's crazy, but maybe even a home upset against Georgia. Again, it's college football and crazier things have happened. Look at App State, Michigan. Look at North Dakota State beating Iowa. There have been some crazy, crazy upsets over the years. South Carolina beating Georgia doesn't sound too far-fetched now. And I think the South Carolina team is going to get tested early. Look, they might start out the season 1-2, but I think down the line, I don't think it's too far-fetched to find 6 wins for this team. I mean, 4 of them are already highlighted in green. You just got to find 2 more. Missouri's probably a likely one, and then they're going to have to pull off a win of some sort somewhere down the line. But I think the South Carolina team is going to do a little bit more than that. I think the South Carolina team is going to pull off a couple upsets. And towards the end of the year, I think the South Carolina team is going to be a team that Clemson might want to do a double take on. They might want to look out for. Now, I don't think South Carolina is going to do anything super crazy, but I do have the Gamecocks going 7-5 this year in 2022. If Spencer Rattler can get rid of whatever slow start he's got and start out the gate fast for South Carolina, who knows? They might go on the road week 2, pull off that win. But Spencer Rattler cannot start out slow for this team, or it could be a very down year for South Carolina. This offense is going to be better no matter if Rattler starts out slow or fast, because we all know what Spencer Rattler can play as. He's just got to play like that for a full season. He's got to prove that he can be that guy for a full season. We've seen that guy at Oklahoma. He's got some pass catchers. He's got a solid run game behind him, and this defense should still be pretty solid. This is the South Carolina team that wouldn't surprise me if they won 9 games. If this is a team that ends up in the top 25 at the end of the year, I'm not going to be shocked. There's a lot of great talent on this team, but it all hinges on the back of Spencer Rattler and if that defense can stay consistent. And you see that floor there as 4-8 as well. But I got South Carolina going 7-5 in 2022. That's going to do it for my video about South Carolina. If you guys feel like I missed anything, Gamecock fans, put that in the comment section down below. Or feel free to give your South Carolina predictions down there as well. Also subscribe, ring the bell so you know when your favorite team, if it isn't South Carolina, gets uploaded. But remember to play hard, tailgate harder. See all you guys in the next one. Goodbye.